will be to go round the city 7 times. But this is how you will do it. You will do it once a day. Munazunguka, mukifika hapa, munapumzika. Kazi yenu imeisha. Alafu kesho yake, simama zunguka basi. Hivyo siku 6. Lakini siku ya 7, mutazunguka mji mara 7. And then he tells them, hiyo siku ya 7, kuzunguka mara 7, alafu round ya 7, mutafanya hivi. It says verse 5. Verse 5 of Joshua 6 says these words, when you hear the priests give one long blast on the ram's horns, have all the people shout as loud as they can, then the walls will collapse. That's what God told them. Now he says, in effect here he says, don't worry, I'll take care of the walls. Don't trouble yourself. Don't bring stress upon yourself. If it is walls put against an evangelistic thrust, leave them to me. Yes, the devil is in the business of erecting walls against this wall here. Yesterday I had several words here being spoken here. Bride, riches, you don't bring this, you don't bring it, you don't penetrate. God has said, yes, I know that the devil has erected as many walls in every culture, in every ethnic group as possible, but leave those walls to me. I'll take care of them. But when I have taken care of the walls, then your work begins. Nikisha shughulikia hizo kuta ambazo zimejengwa na shetani, basi hapo na kazi yako inaanza. So he says this. So what you will do is, I'll take care of the walls with your cooperation. Ninahitaji mchango wako wa kuvunja kuta hizi. Mchango wako ni gani? Wewe utasunguka tu, usipige tu anything. Hata mkono usijaribu kujua iko timamu namna gani. No. Just don't do that. Just pass round once per day. Then on the 7th day, 7 times. Now verse 5 says, on the 7th round, on the 7th day, you will just be listening when the wakipiga tarumbeta very loud, then all of you shout, give one shout. Then with that action, the walls will collapse. Now when they collapse, what do you do? It says, verse 6, and all the people will go in at once and take the city. Okay? Now let me see if you have followed what I've said. What did God commit himself to do in the face of obstacles? Sema. He will take care of the obstacle. In this case, they were the walls. I'll take care of the obstacles. Then when I have taken care of the obstacles, what is your part? Go in at once. Muingie mara moja. Don't hesitate. Don't take time. Don't go to study and say, well, yeah, the walls are broken. Let us see how prepared they are. Where are they? Are they in the house? No. It says once the walls are taken care of, I've taken care of the walls, go in at once and take the city. And verse 20 says these words. When all those things have been done, verse 1 says, when the people heard the sound of the ram's horns, they shouted as loud as they could. Suddenly, the walls of Jericho collapsed. Praise God. You know, when you do what God has told you, things begin to happen. They begin to happen. Because he was told, you know, they were given theory, instructions. So, mara moja, Sunday, mupumzike. Monday, mara moja, pumzika. Tuesday, mara moja, pumzika. Wednesday, mara moja, pumzika. Thursday, mara moja, pumzika. Then on the seventh day, amuka asubuhi, enda mara moja, mara mbili, mara saba. Then verse 5 says, when you do that, then on the seventh round, on the seventh day, then there will be a loud blast of the horns, ram's horn. Then you also shout, participate. Then it will collapse, and then the army will go in at once and take the city. Do you understand? Yes. Go and do practical. So verses 6 to 19, now the practical started, and verse 20 gave us the result of obedience to what God has said. Now, verse 20 says, and when the people heard the sound of the ram's horns, so that is the seventh round of the seventh day. When the people heard, you know, walikuwa wanasikiliza hiyo, wanangoja hiyo, itapigwa lini, hiyo parapanda ambayo inapigwa kwa sauti kuu. Wao walikuwa wanasikiliza tu, wanatega sikio. Waliposikia wakasema, saa ndio hii ilipopigwa, na wao wakapiga kelele, ile mjukuu wangu anasema kelele ya harusi. Anasema hebu tupige kelele ya harusi. Sasa wakapiga hiyo kelele ya vita. Then the Bible tells us when they did what God told them, then suddenly the walls collapsed and the army went in at once and seized the city. What are we saying? We are saying Satan is in the business of erecting walls against evangelism. Whether it is traditions, it is compromises, ni maisha ya siku hizi, ni maisha ya kusema kila mtu ana uhuru, kama Biblia imesema hapa, all the compromises I even see, imeandikwa, kuna lessons ambazo zimechorwa hapo, halafu kitu anasema, Pastor Juma unaonaje hapo? Mimi naona hapa, na wewe Pastor Unjano, according to me. Now lesson iko according. You know, all these things have come to church, and it's a wall that is preventing this. According to me. Na lesson je? Hata Biblia inasomwa, you know, those are compromises that have come, and they have come as a wall, as thick and even thicker than that of Jericho. God has said, I'm going to take care of that wall. There is this tradition ambayo nilisikia hata jana, unasukumwa kabisa, chukua mahali utaoa, lakini kuchukua hiyo mbuzi ina pombe ndani, inakuwa kama wall kwa mshiriki. God has said, I will take care of that on one condition. When I have taken care of that, don't hesitate, go in at once. That's what God is saying. And that's the spirit of Joshua chapter 6, that you watch. Chungulia kabisa. Maana Mungu amesema, I am in the business of breaking down walls, whatever they are. Don't worry. You want to go to Masai? Yes. There are walls there? Yes. Remind God, quote and quote, to take care of this wall. But when you have said that, be prepared when He has taken care of it, because you will go in at once. Don't hesitate. But remember, my title is The Tragedy of Missed Opportunities in Mission. God does His part, But we stayed and take a lot of time, and then the doors close again. Then we go back to pray. You know, you say, the Kikuyu community, for example, Mungu amefungua njia, alafu tunasema tumeenda kwa strategic planning. JP, unaenda strategic planning for 3 months. Kuja kuona jinsi mtakavyoingia na mlango ule ambao Mungu amefungua. Anawaletea radio hapa, badala ya kuingia na kuhubiri, mnaenda strategic planning for 6 months. And the tragedy of missed opportunities. So hapa wakafanya vile ambavyo waliagizwa na Mungu na wakauteka huo mji wa Jericho. Na tangu hapo, God has been in the business of collapsing walls, and ours is to go in at once. Let me give you one, this book I told you is very close to me, and whenever we have here, I pick it. On page 104 of that book, I know some of you may have it. It says, it gives one instance. Second World War. Mnajua ya kwamba Marekani ilinyeshea mabomu Japan. Hasa 2 cities. 2 cities. Two cities. Na wakaiponda. Let me tell you, when they did that, and the year was 1945, it says the dark side of history of missions is the tragedy of missed opportunities. Shida ya kazi hii ya uinjilisti ni ile ya kupoteza ile muda na ile nafasi ambao Mungu anatupatia. At the end of the Second World War, General Douglas MacArthur pleaded with the American church to rush thousands of missionaries to a humbled, defeated Japan. Akasema sasa hivi, sisi ndio tuko, ile language ya vijana, sisi ndio tuko kwa ground. Tumeona, unajua vijana wanasema sisi tuko kwa ground. Ground sio kuzuri, ground ni kuzuri. MacArthur akawaambia, ninyi kanisa Marekani, amjui what has happened. God has dethroned their God. God has defeated their religion. Now they are humbled. Rush thousands of missionaries to this Japan. Wamepigwa mabomu. Sasa waoni wapi waende. Mungu wao Hirohito hawajui amewafanyia nini. Hiyo Shintoism yao, hiyo dini imewalet down. Sasa they are ready to take up anything, and that anything includes Christianity. So rush thousands of missionaries. Here is an opportunity ambayo Mungu amefungua, ameangusha kuta zote za Japan. Tafadhali rush thousands of missionaries. Then it says, instead the church hesitated. Did you hear that? Instead the church hesitated. Badala ya kuingia mara moja, basi kanisa ikakawia. Na ilipokawia, what happened? Then it says, unfortunately, Japan groped. Kugrop ni kuenda kama umefunga macho. Groped towards another god called materialism. Na sasa hivi, hata ukienda huko Japan kuhubiri injili, it's not many years ago, kuhubiri injili is impossible with the kind of materialism they have, because all Toyota, all Suzuki, all Honda zinatoka wapi? Japan. And it's all over the world. They are so rich. You tell them of Jesus Christ who blesses people, they say, who is that? What happened? Because the church hesitated. When God broke the walls, they hesitated. They didn't go in at once. Missed opportunity. And I want to thank CKC Bado, and we shall thank them, that they are telling you God has broken walls. The walls that stood our way, the walls of the expansiveness of CKC, which went from, I don't know, from here to Siaikuru, from Karura to Moyare, from hapo to Konza, pa Konza ni karibu, huko chini, Mtito Andei, all these things, that wall has been broken down. It's now smaller. So the church must go in at once. Don't hesitate. You hesitate, God is going to close, Satan is going to close those doors. Like they did in Japan about 70 years ago. Now Japan is the most difficult to penetrate because the church hesitated. When God breaks walls, tafadhali, go in at once. Don't hesitate. And now you will discuss the walls God has broken in this CKC. I have given you a few. But you are going to discuss those ones. What opportunities has he brought here? VOP, you are going to translate into mother tongue. You have radio. You have all these. These are opportunities. Don't hesitate. Don't miss them. Let me bring you another one as I close this. East Germany erected a wall and said East Germany is not going to access the rest of the world. It will die with its communism. And they stayed there, separated from the rest of the world, West Germany and the rest of Europe, for many years, until 1990, when God brought that wall collapsing. He did it. But thank the church, it went in at once, and now Russia has a significant number of Christians. Why? Because the church did not hesitate. When God broke down the walls, the church did not hesitate. And we thank that. And he has been doing that. And let me now make another indication where God is breaking down walls. And that comes directly under Dr. Mtero, and he will make a statement on that. The Muslims have raised walls against Christians for a long time. Long time. You can't go to a Muslim country and preach openly. Even all these things. And it is making sure that you don't do it. You do it at your peril. You go with the Bible there, you love death than life. They check even the one in the soft copy. That's part of the checking into those Muslim countries. But guess what? God of late has been moving among Muslims and is breaking those walls. An example is Djibouti. Djibouti has been 97 plus Muslim. And not the ordinary Islam, radical. Radical tu ni kuangalia tu hivi, hata tai peke yake nasema huyu ni Christian. Huwa. That's how radical they are. But the Seventh-day Adventists established a clinic there. And they closed out. You know, Djibouti is in East Central Africa Division. And for a long time, nobody has been going to Djibouti. But recently, the division was surprised to find a letter from Djibouti itself, Ministry of Education and Minister of Foreign Affairs, to the division. It's like a Macedonian call. They said, we have looked at your clinic here. It is small, but we have liked it. You know, a Muslim saying, I've liked something Christian. and you don't call that the collapsing of a wall? Then what do you call a collapsing of a wall? Then they said, because we have liked it, we are now challenging you with a bigger thing. Come and establish an international school. And that international, what I meant here, that international school should be Christian. It should be in English. Not only that, that school is going to follow the Kenyan curriculum. Now your man is weak. You know, when God is collapsing walls, we must look here. The Bible said when they had the last loud blast there, they also shouted, and then the walls collapsed. Now, we have been listening what God is going to do. Now he has said he is collapsing the walls in Djibouti. Amen. And they have called Christians, come and build an international school, pattern it according to your curriculum. Now, if it is a Christian curriculum and a Kenyan curriculum, which books are they going to use? The Kenyan books. Then possibly are the teachers going to be Muslims? No, they don't know these things. So this is a wall that has been collapsed. So God has done his part. According to Joshua chapter 6, what are we supposed to do? You use the word that was used in the Bible. You go in at once and take it over. That is why this Sabbath, the offering is not an ordinary mission offering. It is a Macedonian call. God has said, I have collapsed these walls. Now can you go in at once? And I said that the division said, you bring 100 shillings. Is 100 shillings going in at once? No, 100 shillings. And we plan to raise 100 million so that we go there, build the international school within a few months, and Dr. Mutero will come here recruiting for teachers to take to Djibouti. How many of you was good in geography as I was? Do you know the location of Djibouti? Where is Djibouti? It's on the Red Sea. And then 1 foot is in the Middle East. Yes. Yeah. What does your geography tell you? Am I right? Yeah. Which means tukiteka hiyo Djibouti, tumeteka Middle East. Amen. So what is now needed, brothers and sisters, go and tell everybody in the church, go in at once, let's take it, and then begin taking the Middle East. Amen. So 11th is critical. Not only 11th, here we have said, because we are now explaining these things, and you run and explain, we shall do it on 11th, we shall do it on 18th, we shall do it on 25th. Amen. Then, by that time, we shall have gone in at once. So what am I saying? If you are interested in evangelism as you are, don't miss Joshua 6. And Joshua 6 says, there will be obstacles, God will take care of them. And yours is to show willingness, go in at once and take it for God. That is why we have come here. We have watched, we have listened, and what God has said, I am breaking all the walls in this region called CKC. Yours is to go in at once. Tell children to go in at once. Young people go in at once. Don't hesitate. Don't go and waste time to do this. The doors may close. And not only these small doors, even the main door of mercy may close. Mungu atubariki. Tunapopanga kazi hii, ni wakati Mungu amefungua milango, tusikawie mpaka milango hii midogo ikafungwa mpaka na ule mkubwa ukafungwa. Ni wangapi wanasema while huo mlango umefunguliwa nitafanya juu chini kuona hapo. Simama Mlango huo. Wapi yule? Mlango huo. Kuja. Si mnajua hiyo wimbo? Mbona uliwekwa huko? Si ni kuimba wakati kama huu. Sasa Juma, utasimama hapa na wewe useme mlango huo, usimame mpaka tumalize kazi.
Mlango na Tumaini 100 na kitu 110. Mlango uko mlango huu, tukienda juu itaenda juu zaidi. Nafikiri hiyo mlango uko wa wema. Tuimbe. Mlango uko wa wema, mlango wa huo, Yesu ameufungua, na hakuna kufunga. Mlango wazi ajabu, uliachwa wazi kwangu. Wazi kwangu. Mlango huu kawazi, watu waokole. Maskini na wa mataifa yote, mlango wazi ajabu, uliachwa wazi kwangu. Wazi kwangu. Maadam mlango wazi, rafiki kazamwe. Do mlango wazi ajabu, uliachwa wazi kwangu. Wazi kwangu. Msalaba tutabeba daima na furaha, pendo wa Yesu hushinda, tunaina mlango wazi ajabu, uliachwa wazi kwangu. Wazi kwangu. Asanteni sana. Pastor Juma atatuongoza kwa sala.
Asante. Tuamini na tuombe. Baba na Mungu wetu, ni furaha iliyoje kugundua kwamba umefungua milango.
Amen.
Kuta ambazo zilikuwa zinatuzuia tusifikie malengo yetu umeangusha.
Amen.
Letu ni kuchukua opportunity na kuingia mara moja.
Amen.
Tunaomba tusichelewe. Central Kenya Conference tunaomba kwamba tuingie mara moja na kufanya wajibu wetu.
Amen.
Division yetu imetupatia jozi kwamba East Central Africa Division tuna opportunity tu ya mara moja kuweza kuingia Middle East kupitia Djibouti.
Yeah.
We want to pray that we capture this vision and run with it.
Amen.
The danger of of missed opportunities, the danger of delaying, tunaomba isiwe miongoni mwetu. Tusaidie tukiondoka hapa, tuondoke tukiwa charged kufanya kazi yako, wajibu wetu wakati nafasi ingalipo.
Amen.
Mkutano wetu tunaukabidhi kwako, tuongoze mpaka mwisho. Tuweze kuangalia nyuma muda ujao na kusema, we had an opportunity to be reminded of what is ahead of us. We caught the vision and ran with it. Here are the results. Be with us through the day. We pray this in Jesus' name.
Amen.
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 Asante sana. Tunawasalimu wote asubuhi, hamjambo. Bwana Yesu asifiwe. Ninaamini kila mmoja aliweza kulala vizuri. Hatujapata habari ya mtu yeyote alipata shinda. Tunashukuru Mungu sana. Hata wale walikuwa na safiri wote waliweza kufika. Tunashukuru Mungu sana. Wakati huu tunapenda tufanye mawili matatu kabla tuende kwa groups. Lakini naomba nimkaribishe mwenyekiti wetu wa conference atuletee wageni wengine ambao wamefika. Alafu baada ya hapo tutafanya program tatu very brief, dakika tatu. Kuna mzee mmoja ako hapa angependa kushare na sisi vile amekuwa akifungua makanisa na tuone hiyo vile inaweza kutusaidia. Pia tuko na Dr. Mwaneki atatupatia ripoti ya hospitali yetu vile inavyofanya kazi. Na baada ya hapo sasa ndio tuweze kuingia katika vikundi, na tunaomba tutakapoingia kwa vikundi hatutaenda kwa uwanja ile, tutakuwa tu within our compound hapa. Tutajipanga kila tuna tent 8, tutakuwa na 8 groups within the tent, then zile groups zingine zitabaki, wengine wanaweza kukaa hapa nyuma na wengine wanaweza kukaa behind this tent ili tuweze kusungumuza pamoja, na hata wengine wale watakuwa na mahali wanaweza kukaa kwa hii tent tumewaruhusu ili tukidiscuss ya maneno. Tutachukua almost 2 hours bila haraka, na itakuwa ni peke yenu kutuelezea yale maneno ambayo mngependa tuweze kufanya pamoja. Na kama tulivyosema jana, tukiyafanya pamoja tutakaa chini tutengeneze nao a document ambao kila kanisa itakuwa na copy. Tutashare na leaders in the union, na sisi conference ndio tuangalie tuseme hii document itatupeleka wapi, na tuendelee kukumbushana kila wakati kwa mapenzi ya Mwenyezi Mungu. Mwenyekiti, karibu.
Asante sana kiongozi wetu wa union kwa ujumbe huo. Wakati huu ningependa kumkaribisha Pastor Samuel Ngoi aweze kutusalimia. Pastor Samuel Ngoi, the last time tulikuwa na yeye, sijui kama ni 89 ama ni 88, tukiwa vijana tulikuwa tunahubiri mahali kunaitwa Choo, na baadaye alipotea, lakini hajapotea, angali yako katika ministry, ni mchungaji Uingereza, kanisa linaitwa North Wimbley, lakini ana mission, ana area specialization ya mediation and reconciliation. Karibu tusalimie.
Wapendwa katika Kristo, hamjambo. Bwana ni mwema siku zote. Nimefurahi kuwa pamoja nanyi, na namshukuru mzee Ndegwa ambaye alipopata habari ya kwamba ninasafiri kuja huko aliniomba niweze kuwa pamoja nanyi. Kanisa la Wembley mlipoambiwa, wengine wajui liko wapi. Liko South England Conference, British Union. Na Mungu ametubariki kiasi ya kwamba tumegundua kanisa hili linapoteza washiriki. Washiriki tunaleta na wanapotea. Na 50% ya washiriki wanaoacha kanisa wanaacha kanisa kwa sababu ya conflict. Mizozano ndani ya kanisa. Aidha hawakubaliani na uongozi, aidha wanafarakana wao wenyewe mshiriki kwa mshiriki, na hizo zinakuwa ni shida ambazo tumeziona zikifanyika mara kwa mara. Na South England Conference walipogundua hiyo shida ipo, wakatuomba tuliokuwa tumefanya mediation training, tuweze kukaa pamoja, tuweze kutafuta ni njia gani tunaweza kusaidia kanisa pale. Na mediation uzuri wake ndio huu. Mediation, unapoenda kumediate katikati ya watu au mediate tu katikati ya washiriki, unaingia kwa manyumba ya watu, unakuta wana shida, unawasaidia, wanamuona Yesu Kristo kupitia kwa shida hizo na wanamfuata Yesu Kristo. Kanisa la Uingereza limekuwa ni black church. Black church. Black church maana yake ni nini? Ingawaje liko Uingereza ambako over 90% ni wazungu, kanisa la Adventista limebaki watu weusi. Na wakiwa weusi, kitu ambacho tumegundua tunapofanya mediation kwa weupe, tunapoenda nyumbani mwao na kuanza kufanya kazi ya mediation, wengine wanaanza kuangalia, wanauliza mlikuwa wapi shida zetu zikianza. Tunawaambia tulikuwa hapo tukingojea ili moto ukiwaka tukija kuzima mnatufuata. Na wameanza kuingia kanisani pia weupe. Mungu ni mwema na kuna opportunity. Conflict is not bad in itself. Conflict creates opportunities. Na ukiziona hizo opportunities, ukiingia at once, Mungu naye anafanya vitu vya ajabu. Mungu awabariki na nawashukuru viongozi kwa mpango huu. Mungu awasaidie na jozi hii iliyoko iweze kuendelea na kufanikisha kazi katika Central Kenya. Asanteni.
Asante sana mchungaji. Wakati huu Tyson akipanga, tunataka kurani hiyo clip ya Djibouti kidogo, mtaiona mahali mmekaa. It's small, haitachukua ni kama dakika 2, hiyo clip itarun. Lakini kabla iran, naomba nimuite Dr. Mutero ambaye ndio kiongozi wa education katika division yetu, ambao project hii iko directly mkononi mwake. Baada ya hapo tuone hiyo clip, baada ya clip ndio tuendelee kutoka hapo. Tafadhali daktari, karibu.
Bwana asifiwe sana. Tunamsifu Bwana Yesu. Asante sana. Nashukuru sana kwa nafasi hii ambayo Mungu amenipatia. Nashukuru sana kwa ujumbe mzuri sana kutoka kwa mwenyekiti wetu, na tunashukuru kwa vile ambavyo naona sasa kazi ya Mungu imeanza. Tangu nifike hapa jana nikasikia yale mambo yanayosemwa na nikasema jinsi ambavyo mambo yanaelekea, inaonekana kwamba kazi imeanza. Na naona vile kulingana vile nimesikia hapa, nimefurahi sana. Sababu nimeenda mikutano mingi, tunaenda mikutano ya General Conference, mambo ya Evangelism, mambo ya mission. Lakini huu mkutano vile umeanza, nimeona kwamba Mungu kuna kitu ambacho anafanya. Na tunashukuru kwamba kuta zimeanza kufanya nini? Kuanguka. Kuta zimeanza kuanguka. Na kama vile mwenyekiti amesema wakati kuta zinaanguka, unaenda mara moja. Siku sita. Tumesita siku nyingi, tunasema hakuna pesa, tunaimba kila siku hakuna pesa, ni umaskini, ni nini. Lakini wakati kuta imeanguka, wewe tu unatafuta njia ambao utaweza kupenya ndani. Kwa hivyo kwa ufupi ningependa kusema hivi, Mungu ametupatia nafasi ya kuweza kwenda katika nchi ya Djibouti. Kama vile tulielezwa na mwenyekiti, tumekuwa katika nchi ya Djibouti miaka 30. Serikali ilituita pale, tukajenga kliniki ya macho, kliniki ya meno, na kwa miaka 30 tumeweza kuwabatiza Wajibuti 8 peke yao. Miaka 30 Wajibuti 8 peke yao. Na tukasema kazi hii kama itakuwa ni miaka 30 watu 8, hii kazi itamalizika lini? Haitamalizika. Na Djibouti kama mlivyoelezwa ni kwamba Djibouti ni gateway to Middle East, ni gateway. Nimekuwa pale siku nyingi pale mji wa Djibouti. Ukiwa hapo katika mji wa Djibouti unaona Yemen, ile ngambo nyingine ya Red Sea. Kuna Eritrea. Unaona Yemen imezingirwa na Yemen, Eritrea, Ethiopia, Somali. Na wale watu ambao wanaishi Djibouti ni wa Somali pia, kwa hivyo wanazungumza lugha moja. Kwa hivyo pale kazi kianza vizuri, shike mizizi vizuri, Sasa pale ndipo wale watu ndio sasa wataenda Somali, wengine wataenda Yemen. Kuna big refugee camp pale ya watu kutoka Yemen. Na sasa tulikuwa tunasema kwamba wale watoto kutoka Yemen tutawachukua tuwalete katika hii shule hii, tuweze kuwapatia elimu ya Kiadventista, na tukiwapatia elimu ya Kiadventista basi kutakapokuwa na amani katika nchi ya Yemen, wataenda na huu ujumbe katika nchi ya Yemen. Na pali hata nchi kama Eritrea kanisa limekuwa tena, kanisa letu lilipigwa marufuku na kanisa letu liko underground. Nchi kama Ethiopia ina population ya more than 100 million, na washiriki wote katika nchi ya Ethiopia ni chini ya 1,000. 100,000 laki moja 100 million, laki moja. Unaweza kufanya hiyo hesabu. Na pale ambapo membership ni less than 1% of the total population, that is an entered territory. Kwa hivyo hata Somali, hata Ethiopia tujaanza kazi. Ethiopia is an entered territory. Kwa hivyo Mungu ametupatia nafasi hii, serikali wametupatia kibali, serikali wanatusihi, wanasema kujeni, wametupatia hata uwanja. Sasa sisi kazi yetu ile imebaki ni kwenda tu kujenga shule. Na kwa hivyo tunawasihi katika jina la Yesu. Majuma mawili yaliyopita nilikuwa pale Rwanda. Pale Rwanda wakaniambia wao vile wamesema kwamba katika union yao nzima kila mfanya kazi amekubali aweze kukatwa 5% ya mshahara wao ili waweze kusaidia Djibouti. Tunasema nini? Sunana watu wameanza kwenda mara moja. Na wakasema sasa, hata wakasema kwa nini mnatuitisha shilingi 100? Wao wakasema sasa sisi tunaenda kwa washiriki wetu tunawaitisha shilingi 500. Tunawaitisha shilingi 500. Na sasa wameenda kwa washiriki wao, wamesema kwamba chukua siku moja katika ile budget yako ya lunch, kata hiyo lunch yako siku hiyo ya shilingi 500 tupeleke Djibouti. Na kwa hivyo watu wameamka, wanasema hii ni nafasi ambayo Mungu ametupatia, na nafasi kama hii tunaenda mara moja. Tulikuwa tunataka tukusanye sadaka ili kazi ianze mwaka huu ambao unakuja, tujenge hiyo shule haraka iwezekanavyo, sababu serikali wakati mwingine kunaweza kuwa na mabadiliko, kunaweza kuwa na Pharaoh who knew Joseph, na mambo yanabadilika. Kunaweza kuja mtu mwingine ambaye hajui nani, hajui Yusufu. Wakati kama kutakuja na mtu mwingine, atakuta tayari tumeingia kule, tumejenga shule na kazi imeanza. Na kwa hivyo tunawaomba kwa heshima, tunawasihi, hii ni kitu ambacho sisi tunaweza kufanya. Tunaweza kufanya kila mtu, hata shilingi 100 ikianguka pale chini, hata hiyo unaweza kusema hiyo acha niwachie mtu ambaye atakuja kuchukua baadaye. Hautachukua ikiwa na matope. Hawezi kuchukua shilingi 100 ikiwa na matope weke katika mfuko wako. Unaiacha tu hapo ili chokora kuja achukue. So kwa hivyo tunawaomba kwa heshima, tafadhali katika hii safari sisi tusafiri pamoja. Wale watu wa Djibouti wamesubiri sana kwa hamu, na ujumbe mpya unapoenda katika sehemu mpya, ujumbe unafanya vizuri, kazi vizuri na watoto. Ukitaka kuhubiria kabila, ukitaka kuhubiria watu, enda kwanza hubiria mtoto. Ukuhubiria mtoto ashike huu ujumbe. Na unajua huu ujumbe unakuwa very complicated. Mimi ni systematic theologian. Na katika theology ya Kiadventista, it is very complicated. It is very, very complicated. Na mtu ambaye anashika theolojia ya Kiadventista ni mtoto. Ile window of opportunity kati ya miaka 7 na miaka 18, watoto wetu tusipowaeleza na kuwafundisha vizuri juu ya misingi ya dini hii na zile mambo ambayo tunaamini, tusipowafundisha vizuri pale, hakuna wakati ambapo watapata huu ujumbe wa Kiadventista. Mtu akizidi miaka 35 inakuwa ni vigumu sana. Itakuwa tu ni neema ya Mungu, kama vile mtu alivyosema hapa, pengine ni njozi. Mungu pengine atajifunua kwa mtu kwa njozi ili aweze kuelewa. lakini watoto, watu ambao wanashika ujumbe na kuelewa vizuri na kushika vizuri ni watoto. Na hiyo ndio sababu tunasema kujenga shule. Wakati umejenga shule, umejenga kanisa ya siku za usoni. Pahali pote nimeenda katika division hii, uende Dar es Salaam, uende Kinshasa, uende Kampala, uende Kigali, uende Bujumbura, ukiuliza ni watu gani ambao walihudhuria shule za Kiadventista, unapata kwamba 50% ya wale ambao watainua mikono watakaokuwa katika kanisa pahali popote ni wale ambao walienda katika shule ya Kiadventista. Ukiuliza ni watu gani ambao wanatoa zaka kwa uaminifu, ni wale ambao walienda katika shule za Kiadventista. Ni watu gani ambao wanakuwa na njozi ya kufanya kazi ya utume, wale watu ambao wanajitoa kabisa, ni wale walienda katika shule za Kiadventista. Sababu ule msingi ambao ulijengwa wakati walihudhuria katika shule za Kiadventista, ule msingi mtu anasimama nao kwa siku zote za maisha yake. Na hiyo ndiyo sababu, nikimaliza, hiyo ndiyo sababu umewahi kuona priest, umewahi kuona brother na sister wanafanya crusade? Umewahi kuona? Umemwona father anafanya Bible study? Ni kusema wahubiri? Ni kusema wafanye evangelism? Wanafanya sababu wao wamegundua kwamba enda tafuta mtoto wa miaka 7 na 14. Ukipata ile mtoto, umpeleke pale shule ya Kikatoliki, umfundishe misa, ufanye nini, yule mtoto atakuwa Mkatoliki mwaminifu for the rest of their life. Na hiyo ndiyo sababu wale Jesuit wanasema, give me your child and they will be Catholics for the rest of their life. Na kwa hivyo tunaenda Djibouti, tuchukue watoto wa Djibouti. Imekuwa ni vigumu sana kuhubiria watu ambao ni zaidi ya miaka 35. Na tumeona tu njia ya kuweza kuwafikia wa Djibouti ni kuchukua watoto wao, waje pale, tuwafundishe zile nyimbo zetu za Sabbath School, tuwaingize kwenye Pathfinder, tuwafundishe mambo yote ya Kiadventista. Tunapofundisha hesabu, tunawafundisha pia hesabu ya mbinguni. Na wakishika hii imani, wale watoto wakishika hii imani, kanisa yetu imesimama katika nchi ya Djibouti. Na kwa hivyo kwa heshima na waomba tafadhali, endeni katika makanisa yenu, mseme kwamba Mungu ametupatia nafasi, na hii nafasi ambayo Mungu ametupatia hatujui itakuwa pale kwa muda wa kiasi gani. Na mlango wakati umefunguliwa, sisi kazi yetu ni kuingia mara moja. Tumesita siku nyingi na tumepoteza nafasi nyingi, tumepata hasara kubwa, tumepoteza nchi kama vile Japan, tumepoteza nchi nyingi sana kule Europe, tumepoteza nchi nyingi sana Europe. Wakati ujumbe wa Kiadventista ulienda Europe, wakasema kwamba sisi kazi yetu ni kufanya tu mashambulio na kujenga makanisa na kujenga makathedral. Hii kama elimu inatolewa bure na serikali kuanzia standard 1 mpaka PhD, hatutajenga mashule. Europe wakakataa kujenga mashule. Na sasa kazi kule imekufa. Yale makanisa waliojenga yamekuwa sasa ni night club, yamekuwa ni bar, sababu yalikosa watu, yameuzwa sababu wao hawakujenga msingi wa watoto. Na kwa hivyo sisi tunasema hivi, tunasema kwamba tupatie watoto wetu nafasi, tuwapatie elimu, na tunapowapatia elimu, tunawapatia pia huu ujumbe, tuwasaidie waweze kusimama, na wakisimama ndio watasimama na hii kanisa, watakuwa mishonari, watakuwa watu ambao ni waaminifu, watakuwa ndio watu ambao watamaliza kazi hii. Mungu wetu aweze kutubariki. Ni wangapi ambao wanasema katika hii safari tunasafiri pamoja? Hebu nione mkono. Hebu onyesha Mungu mkono wako. Asante sana. Mungu aweze kuwabariki. Ambia rafiki yako, ambia makanisa yenu kwamba tuna safari hapa, tuna kazi ambayo Mungu ametupatia na sisi tunatembea pamoja. Mungu aweze kuwabariki. Asante sana.
Amen. Thank you so much. Tyson anapoandaa ile clip, tuone clip hiyo ya Djibouti for a few minutes. For a few minutes, natumai tumeelewa kile Mungu anachosema nasi leo. Tutakuwa na dakika chache tu za kusikia ripoti hizo, because I'm sure we are charged for the discussions. Ndugu Ndegwa ni mmoja wa strategic partners wetu hapa, na yeye amekuwa akifanya kazi hapa Nyeri, na ana mzigo wa kusema kitu. Nimwambia nisimhoji, wacha afungue roho yake aseme, pengine itatusaidia na sisi tufungue roho. Mzee, njoo uchukue dakika chache useme, alafu kisha tutawaalika wa hospitali. Dr. Maneki yuko tayari, hospitali yetu ya Nairobi Adventist Hospital, waseme jambo. Alafu kuna watumishi wetu pia wa chaplains wa prisons tuliwaacha nje, na tutapenda kusikia dakika kidogo tu walicho nacho. Alafu kama nafasi itakubali, kuna mmoja wetu pia amekuwa akifanya kazi kama hii tunayozungumzia ya kuanza kazi. Hebu karibu.
Asante sana. Hamjambo. Niliomba nafasi ili niweze kushare some of the things that I have in mind, having been in evangelism as a leader in Nyeri for many years. And I'd like to start with to request all the pastors who have passed through my hands to stand up, who are here. That is Pastor Nyaga. Aya, sawa. Wakuja hapa mbele. Wale ambao wamepitia kwa mkono yangu. Pastor Kamau wako wapi? Okay. Ni kweli. Yeah, come. Hawa ni wachungaji ambao mnajua, ambao wamepitia mkononi mwangu, in the sense that I would request CKC for permission for us to work together with their workers, and they would send me these people and many others. Aricha, Mago, yeah, Gerald, yes, Nyarega, Derito, nani mwingine? Yes, yes, Dambiri, na kuna mwingine ambaye alikuwa hapa jana. Anyway, these are some of the people who have passed through my hands, and it's by God's grace. God has allowed me the opportunity to work with people who have graciously accepted the calling of God to go out and give their lives to the Lord's work. These are some of them. And I thank God for these people. And I thank God for the church, because we have done a lot through these people and the others. Thank you very much. So when I stand here with some ideas that I'd like to share that would benefit all of us. The first thing I'd like to say is to talk about is theological parity. That simply means for everybody to be at par with one another in their understanding of God. And there is a very simple method that was brought about in a time of war. The old gentleman who stood here yesterday, huyo mzee anaitwaje huyo? Kemuhu. He has been a major driver of that particular aspect, VOP. Today, when we invite students over from wherever they come from to come and preach, to go somewhere and preach, many of them are 19, 20, 21, 22 years old. They actually don't know their theology. They have a drive, but they don't understand their theology. There is a very simple way of making everybody understand their theology. And I'd like to propose that the department that prints these things should print them and make sure that every single Seventh-day Adventist who is in the church has a full set. Zinakuja zikiwa 26, ndio mzee? Huh? Yeah, 26. All of us should go through those things for two reasons. So that we can understand what we believe. Because many of us are here, but they have a smattering of knowledge, a bit here, a bit there, a bit there. But when you go through it, it is a very systematic teaching. And you will now talk like the other person who will talk like the other person. We'll all be talking one language, and it's a good language. So I would propose that we invest in VOP for all the current Adventist members. Now that also includes pastors, because we have had pastors say very interesting things. And we get very worried, because he's the leader, he's there. He's the one who's saying it. And you wonder, now how do you counter that? But if you have members who can tell immediately, that guy has just said his own thing, then it becomes easy for the members to stay in church and not to be swayed by the extra doctrinal teachings that people come about with. We will also lose fewer members if all of us understand our theology correctly. So the first is about theological parity, just being at par with one another and having a common understanding of our theology. The second thing I'd like to talk about is a problem that we have on culture. Not a problem, really. It's that when the European came and colonized Africa, he disregarded our culture and imposed his own, and he also brought with him a white god. Jesus Christ, if you are told to paint Jesus Christ, would you paint him as a Mzungu, a Chinese, or an African? You'd paint him as a white guy. But what does the Bible say about the color of God? What does it say? It says very clearly, the color of God is actually known. But that part of the Bible is erased and we're given a white one. Now that's a challenge, because currently, people who are rediscovering their culture have decided that they're going to say that Christianity has a white God. And indeed, when you look at Christianity and their God, he's white. And they say, what about us? Didn't we have God before the white man? Let's go back to that. So it becomes very easy to just get people out of the church or Christianity and take them one step backwards. And once you've taken one step back, you never stop going back unless something happens. So I would recommend that we have a standing committee that will observe, guide, interrogate, and make recommendations on issues that touch on culture and the Bible. There are other cultural things that are real for us that you cannot escape. I'll give you one or two as a Kikuyu. Amongst the Akikuyu, if you ever wanted to speak to other elders, if you're a married man and you wanted to speak to others and you wanted your voice heard, you could not be listened to unless you had two wives. Because only then were you able to manage people, when you have two wives. It was known even then that managing two wives is work. And as a result, if you could manage a home with a minimum of two wives, you were respected and your word was heard. This white man came and decided to get that out and said one wife. Right now, people are saying, you guys, you read the whole Bible or part of the Bible? Of course, we'll say the whole Bible. And they'll take you into the Old Testament and start saying, who are your fathers of faith? And they'll tell you who the fathers of faith were. And they'll tell you, now let's look at the things about their lives. And they'll start you off from very far, not knowing where it's going to end. And it usually passes through a very dangerous area called many wives. And if you look at all your fathers of faith, all of you, all of them had more than one wife. And that is a challenge to the Kikuyus. The second, so we will need to look at courtship, marriage, separation, divorce, and remarriage. The other thing about that particular aspect of culture of marriage, courtship, marriage, separation, divorce, remarriage, is that if you go to France, they have about 8 to 10,000 Seventh-day Adventists in total, in a country of about 50, 70 million. All of their pastors are divorced and remarried. Here, you dare divorce and see what happens. You'll be asked to go and sort your things out as you're no longer a pastor. But when those Frenchmen come here, we say it is their culture that allows for divorce and remarriage. But the problems that we face are the problems that they face. I am not walking on comfortable ground. I can tell by the way that people have crossed their legs and crossed their arms, and they're looking like they don't want that topic at all. But the next thing I'm going to say is that we have to face the uncomfortable truths so that we can move forward. We have to face and deal with the uncomfortable truths. So we have to accept that we must have a discussion that is going to help the people who can help the church. But they are living in let me just, for lack of a better word, in hell, because they are coupled with somebody who is not theirs. And they only discovered it after they went into a marital union. When you go to your leaders, they say, you just pray, just read the Bible, find a solution, but do not talk about divorce. So what has happened in very many homes, and I'd like you to go and find out, is that people are living like brothers and sisters. Couples, married couples, are living like brothers and sisters in the same house. And when they come to church, from home until church, if they drive, they are silent. Because they're doing it for the public. They're not doing it for themselves or for God. The marriage went a long time ago. Now with COVID, one of the things that we have found is that one of them is being left behind at home, watching TV, and the other one has gone to church. Mostly the man is the one who goes to church because he's an elder, he's something. In other places where it's the lady who is the leader, she's the one who goes to church, and the man says, me, I don't want to get COVID. Let me just hang around at home. And so you found that now the separation is complete. All that is missing is the divorce. And once they discover how to divorce and still be church members, or at least attend church, it will happen. At that time now, you'll feel like the carpet has been pulled from under your feet. Let's handle it now. The other one is we need to understand how to communicate. We need to address how we communicate. Here in Nyeri, we have a greeting, wakia maito, wakia iyo, wakia maito, wakia wa. When the woman is older than you, and you're saying wakia maito, it's actually an affront to her. You have to wait to be recognized. And then you respond. You don't go and start greeting them, habari zenu. No, you can't do that. So that is a cultural thing. And they find us very rude, and they cannot understand why we are so rude. But they've come to accept that, watoto wa siku hizi. But it doesn't make it right. So we need to, that's just an example. We need to learn how to, we need to interrogate how we communicate so that we can come up with solutions for communication, because the beginning of it all is communication. How people communicate and live, and therefore how to best get the message or the gospel message across. To a large extent, and for many years, our theology has been irrelevant to both believing and non-believing Adventists with regards to the following three things: political life, social life, and your own private life. In our private lives, I have my personal economy. I have where I work, etc. But there's no theology that helped me to better my personal economy, my psychology. All it does is tell me that I need to go to church on Saturday, dressed in a particular way, and to be there before 9. And then to do everything that is required until 4 or 5 o'clock, and then to go home. When I look back at the average Sabbath, I wonder, what did I learn that is going to help me to get through this week? What solution was given to me for the problems I have faced in the past week? And when I can't get a solution for the problems I have faced, because the pastor has decided that today is war, he's going to do war with whoever, and he's going to bring irrelevancies. And if I cannot get a vision of my future week, then I'll wonder, why should I come to that church the next week? And that is one of the main reasons why we are losing people. We are irrelevant to the believer. Now, what about the unbeliever? So we need to ensure that our theology is relevant to both the believing and the unbelieving with regards to political life, social life, and our private life. The other thing that we need to do is to ensure that the church has a very strong and well-founded, proactive welfare department. That department should anticipate and act on problems, on problems and solutions. For example, for the last 4 months, we have been told La Nina is coming. And we're not prepared. And we know people are starving. And what do? We look at government to see government acting. But who are we? We are the ones who should provide a solution. We shouldn't expect government to provide a solution. So we need to look at how at the times that we're living in, not just for spiritual sake, not spiritual matters, but for real things like food. Where are we going to get the food in the good times so that we can store it and share it in the tough times? Who's going to do it at what cost? And clothing, and so on and so forth. We know that to the north and the east of us, we have problems of people wanting to come into Kenya because Kenya is peaceful and prosperous. Ethiopia is at war. Yes, they have managed to stop it right now, before the people who are doing the battle come to Addis Ababa. But there's war there. And they are looking to cross the border and come into Kenya. When they come into Kenya, one of the things that they will not have is food. They will not have a place to sleep. They'll not have anything to, they'll not have a place to eat, anything to eat, a place to sleep, or water to drink. Clothes to wear, and anything to do. They'll need all these things. They'll need the things that make a society, a community, a society run. But are we prepared with even a bit of what they need? No. If you look around you, you'll ask yourself, do we have any food supplies anywhere? And the answer is no. Stored somewhere? No. In your own homes, where you stay, Pastor Kamutu, the food reserves that you have, can they last for more than 2 weeks? You'll be very surprised. When the post-election violence was happening, at that time, they had food reserves for 2 weeks. As at yesterday, the average home has food reserves for 2 days. In other words, if something happened today, the day after tomorrow, we would go to the government for help. Now that is in our homes. And it's important for us to know the importance of storing of food for and things for bad days. The supermarkets have cheated us. They have made us very comfortable and told us that you'll always get something here. But the supermarkets can also close. Then what will you do? So you need to have cereals, grains stored for those kind of days, not just for ourselves, but even for others. So The other one is that we need to encourage, enhance, and deepen interaction between ourselves as SDAs and other people using their social associations. For example, golf clubs. How many of us here play golf? Let me see. Okay, there's one over there. Anybody else? The only person here who can get to the very, very rich is that gentleman over there. Because the golf clubs are for the rich. How many of us here are Rotarians? Let me see. How many of us belong to Rotary International? Lions International? So we find that out of 400, we cannot reach those people. The people who believe in giving, we can't reach them. The ones who have a lot to give, we can't reach them because we don't believe in interacting with their religious, with their social groups. I'm happy with what the churches are doing around us, reaching out to others with music, etc. And it's a very good method, and I applaud it, and may God continue blessing it. The other thing that I can see Pastor wants me to get out of this place, but if you'll just allow me 2 more minutes, so you can have a seat for 2 minutes. I find it very hard to do something when somebody's looking over my shoulder. Let me see how I can summarize all this. We need to have road shows as entry points into communities. A road show, you see those things that Safaricom does? But now, them they do it for their own purposes. We need to do something similar as an entry, as a point of entry, as a way of entry into the communities that we go to. And we should, in my opinion, handle 2 things. Number 1 is cookery, because let me do a small poll. How many men think that Kikuyu women cook very well? Okay, I'm not talking about your wife. I'm talking about Kikuyu women. How many of the men here think that Kikuyu women can cook very well? Okay, 1, 2, just a few. How many of them think that there is need for improvement? That is what we come across outside there. That need is real. So we should have road shows that use cookery as an entry point into communities. Now from cookery, it can now go into health, nutrition, etc., etc. But we will now have to sort of like ask, who can cook really well? And let's develop something around it that will allow us to actually use it to enter into our communities. The other one is this. Many of us, I think almost like 70% of us here are married, right? True or false? Now I want some reaction. Most of us here are married. If you're married, say yes. If you're not married, say yes. Okay, all those guys are over there. So don't expect an answer from there. How many of you ladies who are married enjoyed your courtship? Let me see by show of hands. How many of you wish that it could have been a bit better? Okay. We need to approach marriage from a point of view of courtship. We need to approach family life from a point of view of courtship. And therefore, what would help us as an entry point, as the tip of the spear, would be a roadshow that handles how to choose your mate. Right now, we use systems called Fogothari. In other words, you don't even know how you got that wife. Somehow she's here. Somehow she's cooking for you, somehow she's getting babies. And somehow you start disagreeing, and somehow you just find that your life is just like that. The same for women. But does it have to be like that? It can be changed from the beginning, as they say in law, ab initio, so that you choose your mate correctly. And the way that you can enter into family life, according to me, in this place, is by talking about courtship. Here, women trap men. I don't know about where you come from, but where I come from, women are experts at trapping men. When a woman sees that this man is going to help me vuka a certain valley, a certain bridge, she will hang on to that guy, laugh, smile with him, dance with him, eventually get a child with him, and then say, look, you've given me a baby, I'm not a bad woman, let's get married. And the man will say, okay, you'll cook for me, yes. You'll wash my clothes, yes. You'll clean the house, yes. Come, let's live together. Only to discover later that this is not what I wanted, but I'm here. So we need to look into that, and the tip of the spear would be handling courtship. There's a time I used to go around schools. It was very popular. I used to go around schools talking about the advantage and the disadvantage of premarital sex. How many of you have ever thought about it from that perspective? That there's an advantage in premarital sex. Okay? There's a pastor there who knows that there's an advantage, but it's but it's a way of entry. Really, there's no advantage. And the things that we go telling them are advantages can actually also be done inside of marriage. So we will go and talk to them about the advantages of sex before marriage. But what you're telling them is to be careful not to do it, but to make sure that it's done in marriage. Now, it was very, very, very popular. But I had to stop it for some reason, because people began to misunderstand me. You know how we are so good at saying, alikuwa anafundisha advantage ya sex before marriage. Wanasahau the disadvantage. Some of them were never even there to listen to the talks, but they still find a way of making me look like a devil. So I stopped it, but I had come up with some statistics. In the schools where I was invited to talk about it, the teenage pregnancies stopped right there. Where you'd have 9 students sent home every term because they were pregnant, now we're getting none. All the girls were finishing school. So it was working kabisa 100%. Shetani ni nani? Akaingia watu, wakaanza kuipiga, nikasema ikae. Pregnancies went up again. So we need to revisit the issues of these issues. Pastor, hey. Okay, sawa. Now, I want to talk about your money, so you can have a sit down. Yes. These pastors are very good. They are very honest men, very hardworking. All of them. And I'm not flattering them. They work day and night to keep things in order. And without them, the society, you'll not believe it, would just crumble. They are a very strong part of the society and very necessary. But we have a big challenge. Their money comes from our pockets on a month-to-month basis, which should not be the case. Because when we are challenged, they are challenged. So we need to delink their incomes from our pockets. Huh? Yes. How? We want to make sure that their pay is guaranteed whether we give or not. Do I hear an amen? Only from 3 of them. How will that happen? The CKC budget, let's call it, for example, hypothetically, 500 million. per annum. We will need to look into an investment. Say, for example, a fixed, for ease of reference, a fixed deposit account of 5 billion, which would give us at 10% would give us 500 million per annum. That now would guarantee them their pay and all their benefits, etc. We must be alive to the fact that the Levites had no land. The Levites were surviving off the temple to a large extent. And these are the Levites. The pastors are the Levites. We need to think about them hard and come up with real solutions. So that if we find challenges like COVID and anything else that will come up, like somebody said, the next one might come where you must cover your eyes. We will still be able to pay them, irrespective of what challenges come to our pockets. Because they've given their lives over to just making sure that you somehow get to be on the good side of God. So we need to look to delink by having an investment, to delink their income from our giving, by having an investment that allows for interest and profit to pay them. And then what we give as tithe, as offering, would now go into welfare and etc., etc. The other thing that I'd like to talk about is that we need to professionalize some of our services. Right now, your pastor is the one who looks into, and your pastor is not trained as an accountant. He's a pastor. And then he's been given work of looking at books of accounts and taking reports every so often to a certain central place and being interrogated by accountants like Kyoko and Mbogwa, who know what to ask and make you feel like you're paralyzed. So we want to ask that we get church administrators and we have church offices. You know what an office is? It's not a person. I'm not talking here about a person. I'm talking about a room with an administrator and a secretary or a receptionist, where you would now go and take your books, and as a church treasurer, that fellow can also come and train you as a professional and show you how to keep books in the best way, because the blunders that we have are self-generated and it can be fixed. Now, this same church administrator will also look into the matters of land. We have lost a lot of land by leaving it to the pastors. The pastor is just a pastor. Let him preach. But the land matters, let them go through to an administrator. Pastor, I will create time. Yes, magically. I'm a magician. Okay. Yeah, so you can sit down. No, or nothing to say. Okay. So I can leave the rest? Yes. Okay. Aya, sawa. So we need to professionalize our services so that we can, our work can be smoothened out. We need to, okay, the rest now I've been told, but I don't know how he knew them, but let me just say one very more important one. 2, train our pastors on psychology on a regular basis. You know how teachers have that regular training, what is it called? In service. Our pastors must be trained on psychology on an in-service basis. Yes, that continuing education thing, that one. That thing is very important for our pastors in terms of psychology, because they're dealing with our minds every day. And then, of course, we now need to invest in large-scale farming for our schools and our colleges. And the rest now I will have to skip. Unfortunately, I had quite a lot of very interesting things to say, but Pastor is not allowing me. And let me end there. But you've missed out on 75% of it. Thank you.
I'm sure you were in a group. You are in a
yes, I'm in a group, but...
And I suggest
yes,
you begin with that. you begin with the group to listen to you, the whole stretch.
Yeah.
I'm sure if they are good, the way I've heard the others, they will pick them.
Okay.
They will pick them.
No problem.
Yeah, so that it will be a beautiful report from the strategic group. What do you think, members?
Okay, thank you very much. Let me ask a question. How many of you have shaken more than 20% of what I've said? Thank you very much. You just go and implement it. That 20%, just implement it. We will have moved 20% ahead. How many of you have shaken 70%? Okay, how many of you have shaken at least say about 90%? Okay, I can see one or two churches that are really going to go ahead. But at least the guys who have shaken 20%, Ndio wengi, just go and implement it. We will be very happy. I'll be very happy to see that when we visit your churches and when the churches do exchange programs, that it's going to be very easy. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Actually, what I suggest is the groups, if you noted those points, have them, pick them up where they're relevant in your meetings so we can capture them. We don't want them to go in the air. You know, that's the mistake we make in Africa. Tunaongea, alafu tunasema tumesikia. Write down in your groups if they are relevant to the specific groups that we have. I hope, like for example, the Shepherdesses, we have a group called Shepherdesses. We came with our wives, but we forgot to form a group for them. But Shepherdesses, and there's a new term for it. Because they are men who are not women, and their wives are pastors. What do they call it? Spouse ministry. Yeah, so if Jen Dongo came with a husband, he can easily fit in the group of the lady wives of us. You discuss cookery. Wakikuyu wanapika ugali vibaya. Alafu wanakatakata inakuwa box. Ugali na wachanga inakuwa round, alafu unakata mwenyewe. Zungumza hiyo maneno. Na cabbage kukatakata square. Hiyo ikatwe namna hiyo mboga. Discuss that, ladies. I think that will be a good discussion. And the issue of courtship. Thank you. I suggest we end there. Kulikuwa na Doctor, I think we are robbing the groups of time. Please forgive us for this. So the remaining groups, mimi nitawapeleka afternoon. Please. Because we have to watch this clip to end the, you know, there's something called measuring on minutia, splitting hair. Groups, we want to hear what you want to say. Yeah, we really want to hear you. And we can hear you through your groups. Please, let's not spend any more time. For now, nilikuwa nimeahidi tuangalie hiyo clip dakika hizo 2, alafu hospitali tafadhali mtakwenda saa 8 na shule. Daktari. Okay. Okay, hospitali peke yake. Daktari njooni, clip. Yes, thank you. Thank you. From here we go to the groups kindly. Tukubalie tu hivyo.
Under the quinquennial theme of I Will Go, the East Central Africa Division has made it a priority to reach out to the people in unentered areas. Our current target is Djibouti, a country nearly without Adventist presence. After assessing the needs, we are now committed to building an international primary school that will pave the way for the Three Angels message in that region.
God is calling us to establish Djibouti Adventist Primary School. We are going to do something to the glory of God. And this is a journey that I want to invite you that we need to walk together.
On December 11th, 2021, we will collect an offering for that project.
On December 11, 2021, we are going to be collecting a special offering for Djibouti. Get that envelope, write in that envelope Djibouti, and put an offering for Djibouti. Get that pay bill and send your love offering for Djibouti. And this is the time that numbers can work for us.
We are requesting every Adventist member in ECD to prepare at least $1 for Djibouti International Adventist School.
sense joy as you go about your day? Does your child laugh without a worry in the world? Are you motivated to work every morning even when life gets tough?
When Jesus is in your life, he gives you the joy and peace that the world cannot understand. In the country of Djibouti, there are souls ready to hear about Jesus. There are young children who God yearns to mold into his image.
Djibouti is a country in the 10-foot window, a Muslim country, 98% and over. But God has broken the walls.
And for that reason, the Seventh-day Adventist Church from East Central African Division has decided to build an international school at Djibouti where Christ will be lifted. You know, Jesus said that this gospel of the kingdom shall be proclaimed unto all the world, and then the end shall come.
We need to go in at once. December 11th, 2021 is the day we have put aside the entire of East Central Africa Division to raise funds for that school that is going to be a gateway for the gospel to Djibouti.
I want to be there. Let's join hands. Join me that we go there and finish the work in Djibouti.
Daddy, I'll give this 100 for Djibouti.
Djibouti, here we come.
I will go and support Djibouti.
Are you going to go? I have declared I will go. Djibouti, here we come for the glory of God. Hey, viewer, the Djiboutian call is with us here. As you know, God is in the business of saving his people, and he has sent the message to all. We want the message to go to all the world so that people can get to know the gospel of the kingdom. And so we want to go to Djibouti. We are responding to a call from Djibouti. And as a division, East Central Africa Division, this is what we are doing. We want to set up an international academy there, an international school where we can have our children, the children there in Djibouti, taught about the love of our Lord Jesus Christ. And so we want to collect funds to put up an international elementary school in Asmara in Djibouti. This is what we are doing. The leadership of the division has come up with a beautiful and easy and doable way of doing it. We want to collect $1 from each of the members in the division. $1. Our union, East Kenya Union Conference, we are calling all of you to join the division family to collect $1 per person. The big date for this collection is the 11th of December, 2021. And we want to do it one touch. So please come, bring your dollars. Let's build this school that will be a beautiful evangelistic center in Asmara, Djibouti. So welcome, come one, come all. Let's do this thing one touch and have the international school in Djibouti.
Yes, so my name is Moniki, and with me here is my team. I will introduce them shortly. But before I do that, the first thing is to thank you, to thank all of you so much, for giving your tithes and offerings. Kwa sababu hizo zaka na sadaka ndizo zimeinua hospitali, zimejenga hospitali, na zime-equip the hospital, na zimeendelea kusaidia hospitali to expand and even to add other services. Furthermore, you also gave your resources directly to build the hospital. I was not there, but I hear the stories from my predecessor, Dr. Mwadhi. Ameniambia hadithi nyingi sana vile watu walichanga pesa ya kujenga hospitali and we really thank you for that. Yeah, and we believe that we are in the right place as a hospital because you cannot talk about evangelism without talking about medical ministry. The two are actually inseparable. There's a quote that we all love to say, that medical ministry is the right arm of the gospel of Christ. And it cannot be more true than that. And so we believe that as a hospital, as medical workers, or rather as medical missionaries, because we love to call ourselves so, that we have a lot of work to do to support the gospel of Christ, even as we continue. Yeah, so there are some strategies that we have come up with, just to briefly share as a hospital, to foster evangelism. One of the things that we're encouraging our staff is we're encouraging our staff and empowering them, to be able to share their faith, with the patients. We have an oncoming seminar to equip our staff with skills to share with the patients. Some of the topics that will be addressed will be, how to share your faith with the dying, how to minister to the sick, so that, we, in addition to them, to all the medical services that we offer, that we are also part of the ministry, and we offer something different. We have seen some results here and there. We have a robust staff currently, and some of our staff are non-Adventists. And I can tell you that we have 2 non-Adventist staffs currently, who are ready for baptism. And they were ministered to during their work at our facility. Some of them have also, they love our hymns. Some of them have approached us and told us, Daktari mtatufunza hymns lini? Okay, and so these are a lot of opportunities that we are seeing for evangelism. So the other strategy that we have come up with is hospital ministry plans and strategies. So we have come up with collaborations, with independent ministries, singing groups, and other churches. And even in the course of this convention, feel free to come and have a conversation with us. If you would like to minister to patients in one way or the other, as a group, as a family, we will give you that platform. Even if it's on a Sabbath, mutakuja na familia yako, tuwapeleke kwa ward, muimbie wagonjwa, you minister to the patients. And those are the collaborations that we are working with, because we have found out that the medical field, it's a ripe harvest field, for the gospel of Christ. Because you can imagine, like in our hospital, you have a turnover of 100 people every day. Today you will see 100 people, tomorrow you will see another 100 people, different people completely. So it's really a good environment to share this gospel. So the other thing is, our hospital, we are at a good level now. Nairobi Adventist Hospital is a level 4 hospital, 90 bed capacity. And we are offering all the services that you can think of. We have collaborations with specialists and consultants from other hospitals. The same people who will treat you in Aga Khan, now we have them in our facility. From neurosurgeons to urologists, all the fields that you can talk about. But we are offering something different. We are giving you the same services, at a good cost. I can assure you, for procedures like endoscopy, colonoscopies, and all those things, I can assure you that the price that you will get at our facility, it will be the best in Nairobi, okay? And we will give you more, more than that. So we are encouraging church members. We want you to know that our hospital is open. We are offering you all these services here. And I will not mention all of them, but maybe just to mention some of our new services. I mean outpatient, inpatient, pharmacy, laboratory, those are services that other people offer. But so we now have dialysis, we have a renal unit, we're offering dialysis services at our hospital. We have an ICU, okay? We have an ICU in our hospital. We're offering endoscopy and colonoscopy. We have heart clinic, echocardiographies, and the ECGs. We have a cancer treatment center, okay? We have one of the best oncologists in our country who is seeing patients from our facility. Yeah, so we have an oncologist at the facility, so in the cancer treatment center. So for chemotherapy, ile madawa ya cancer, ile sijui nitaisemaje kwa Kiswahili, nichanganye Kiswahili na Kizungu. Madawa ya saratani iko na mambo ingine mingi, dental clinic, eye clinic, and all the services and all the other services that we are offering. In addition to that, we have various platforms for payment. I can assure you today that if you come to our facility and you need an operation, na uko na NHIF, you will not even pay a cent. Hautalipa kitu yote ingine. Utafanyia operation ukiwa na NHIF na hiyo mambo ishie hapo. In addition to that, we have some other insurances on board, Jubilee, Minet, Heritage, and other major on CIC, okay, and others are coming. So we are encouraging you to spread the word, even with the other church members, that if you're in need of medical services, we have our own facility where you'll get the services at an affordable cost. Ile jambo lingine ni kwamba najua hapa kuna, we have employers, kuna watu wameajiri watu wengine, kuna watu ambao wako na kampuni zao, and even our church is a big employer. I know Elder Mayo and Elder Kioko can tell you that the burden of healthcare is rising in our country, and actually even globally. Na, it's predicted in the Bible that in the last days, pestilences shall increase. Na maradhi imekuwa ni mzigo mkubwa sana kwa kanisa, okay? And as a hospital, we are positioning ourselves, to also, be able to alleviate that burden at a lesser cost. So we are open. So for all the employers, whether private employers, whether it's the church, the union, the division, we are open to negotiating plans, whether it's direct plan or prepaid. We give you packages as employers so that you can get the services at our hospital. So the last thing is that I would like to introduce my team. So we have Doreen Kenyanya here. She's a clinic officer at our facility. Maybe she can say hi.
Good morning. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so Grace Tibu. Grace Tibu is our mortician. We don't like to talk about death, but I will actually give Grace a minute or so just to promote her department. She's really passionate about her work.
Bwana Yesu asifiwe. Kama vile mmesikia naitwa Grace Wayaki. Mimi ndio nasimamia department ya ukienda ile ngambo ingine ukituacha duniani. Mimi ndio nashughulikia wewe ukienda. Asanteni.
Vivian Namukuru Okutoi, she's trained as an oncology nurse, but she also plays up as a nice nurse.
Bwana asifiwe. Kwa majina mlivyosikia naitwa Vivian Namukuru Okutoi, mhudumu katika mambo ya saratani na pia upande mwingine ambapo mtu huenda akawa katika hali mahututi. Bariki.
Duncan Ochola is our nurse manager, and he's equal to the task.
Praise God. Yeah, that's my name, as said. So when it comes to nursing services, I make sure everything is smooth and running adequately. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Pastor Lechena is our chaplain. Pastor, you can.
Praise the Lord. The Lord is good. Just a quick one. Kwamba hospitali ya Nairobi Adventist Hospital ni nzuri kuliko Nairobi Hospital. Mwezi wa September na August na September nilikuwa diagnosed with COVID. Na nilihudumiwa pale. Watu wengi wakaniambia kwamba tukusaidie uende wapi? Nairobi Hospital. Lakini huduma ambayo walinipatia ilikuwa ni nzuri zaidi ya nini? Ya Nairobi Hospital. Kwa hivyo nasema hivi kama chaplain tusaidie hospitali yetu ikue, ndipo wengi waweze kupatikana. Kuna wale ambao wanahubiriwa na kupata ujumbe kama vile daktari amesema, it's our mission center. Tunaomba Mungu azidi kutubariki tuende na ujumbe huo kwamba hospitali ya Nairobi Adventist Hospital ni yetu. Ni wangapi wanasema kwamba hospitali hiyo ni yetu? Asante, tuende na ujumbe huo na Mungu awabariki.
Asante sana Pastor. Kwa hivyo ni vile tumesema, help us to spread the word. Kama uko na NHIF utatibiwa na even the other platforms. So the last thing is that we have a tent outside there. Kama unataka kupima sukari, blood pressure, hiyo mambo yote, maswali yoyote tutakusaidia hapo. Tuko na madawa hapa na pale, pia mtasaidika. Na Mungu aendelee kuwabariki.
Thank you. Appreciate. Asante. Wafaransa wanasema ukiwa unasikia kuwa mgonjwa unasema mi nasikia nitakuwa mgonjwa. Hawasemangi nimekuwa mgonjwa, nasema nasikia nitakuwa mgonjwa. So kama unasikia utakuwa, enda huko tu kwa hiyo tent. Utakusaidia. Na nimefurahia sana mambo ya mochari. Najua tangu kabla sisi kujenga hii hospitali, mimi nilikuwa natangazia watu we will have the best mochari. Bali watu wanakufa straight. Kwingineko wanakufanga wamekunjana. They have to break the legs ndio uingie sanduku. Kwetu watu wanakufa straight. The best mochari. Kama na mpango ya kukufa, wewe hapa ni pazuri. Thank you. Thank you very much. Sasa jamani, tuende kwa magroup. Nataka tuende groups. Group 1 itakuwa hapa. So what we are going to do, we use these tents zimeunganishwa. Lakini let's try to use I don't know how possible that will be, but let's try and squeeze into hivi. Yeah. The same thing. Kama hatutatoshea tuko 17, kuna tent hapa. Hii hapa tunaweza tumia. So group 1 2 3 4 5 6 alafu 7 8 9 10 11 kumbe imeisha. So let's see the first 7 groups. Utaanzia hapa, nayo ni neighborhood club, kuja chukua Bible club, kuja chukua hii kadi muweke muhang for camera purposes. Alafu group 2 radio. Mnajua tuliambiwa tumepewa radio. Oh, sorry. Kuna swali, hospitali hiyo iko wapi? Hamuna habari nyinyi watu? Hamuna habari hospitali yetu iko wapi? Na mlichangia pesa? Iko pale Karura na tulinunua shamba pale. Ndio maana hatusemi tuko Gashie, tunasema tuko Nyeri West. Sisi tuko Nyeri West, upande huu wa Nairobi. So CKC parallel ni hospitali. Jamani msisumbuke. Alafu group ya pili ni Hope Radio. Tunataka kuzungumza how will we use the radio in Limuru ndio itufaidi sisi. Are there proposals? So group ya Nyumba Ito mtakuwa na Radio Hope. Tafadhali kuja chukua bana yetu group 3 Gegongona group ama ndio hiyo. Okay. Alafu Ugambo ya Urathi group 4, group 5 church planting, group 6 schools as centers of evangelism, group 7 medical team, group 8 jamani kuja tu viongozi muje mchukue. Group 9 group 9 contextual group, group 9 adopting and entered centers, contextual training, group 10 campus ministries, group 11 online contextualization group, online. Alafu adopt and entered areas, image change, group 12 13 doctrinal issues, 14 spiritual connection among ni spiritual connection nashindwa hii ilikuwa gani? Spiritual connection, knowing your church, group 15 image change, spiritual medical, group number 7 bado knowing your church, 15 16 strategic partners, 17 shepherdesses ama tulisema ni inaitwa kitu gani ile tena? Hiyo jina. Alafu prison ministry mwisho. Tafadhali fanya hivyo sasa. Contextualization. Strategic partners, shepherdesses, medical, prison, adopting, yes, adopting centers. Just find yourself and then hang this for camera purposes. Strategic partners.
Group 7.
Strategic partners. Pastor Apollo Ward, adopting. Pastor Wall. Pastor Wall. Medical, the medical team. Medical team. Asante, shule, schools. Go, don't waste time. We have already wasted a lot for you. Between now and 12:30, tuwe tumemaliza. Asante sana. Asante sana. Medical group sijawaona. Medical. Okay. Thank you so much. Alafu kuna tutawatangazia ili when we have 5 minutes to wind up. Alafu ndio turudi.
Strategic partners are here. Yes, use it.